In this daily drop, we're going to be taking a look at Benro's rotating bracket, which is going to allow you to go from landscape to portrait and back to landscape quickly and easily. So let's go. All right, here we are, end of the week, last episode. And what are we talking about? We're talking about gear. Now, I am getting a little bit frustrated when I'm creating content for the daily drop because I'm shooting a lot of content, most of the content in a 16:9 aspect ratio. But when I want to shoot a promo and I want to turn that camera to a portrait or a 9:16 aspect ratio, it's a whole to do. So I started to do some research and I found this. Now, this is the box it comes in. We don't need that for the video. But what we're going to take a look at are all of the parts, how they go together, and how adaptable this is. And I would say that for you as a user, this is really for people who are using DSLRs and mirrorless cameras, smaller form factor, not honking big lenses. What I have right here is about as large. You could definitely use a cage, but a smaller cage. But let's take a look at all of the different parts. Now, in that box, you basically have three parts. You have the rotating component of this, which is what allows you to go from portrait to landscape, back to portrait, so on and so forth. By the way, this is not a toolless system. I wish it was, but it does have a magnetic Allen wrench right here. So that's nifty and can go right into the main part of the unit. You have this component right here, which is the plate for your actual camera system. And it already has this part, which is attaching to these various components already attached with a couple of bolts. You could, in fact, take that out and you would just have a clean Arca Swiss plate if you wanted to use it for that purpose. There are some bolts here. They're threaded to attach this part right here, which I just showed you, and also the plate, which is essentially what's going to be on your tripod when you are mounting this rotating bracket. Now, it's cleverly designed because it is flippable so that it can attach to, essentially, this is a 501 PL, to a standard Manfrotto head. So we've got one right here, just a little one. You can see it attaches and just goes right into there, and you can tighten that down. Or on the other side, it actually attaches to Arca Swiss, which is what I'm going to use right now. So pretty nifty from that standpoint. You can use it in either orientation. And then what you do is you take this component right here, which is the rotating part, turn it around. If I were mounting this for Manfrotto, the 501 PL, I would go ahead and line up these recessed holes right here this way. And then, of course, that would flip over and go onto that Manfrotto head. Or I would just flip it over here and I would attach it with these recessed ones. And this is your Arca Swiss plate, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop these in. No reason for you to watch this part. So I'm going to dip to black and then this will be attached. Okay. Magic of television, we are back. It's out of the oven and it is attached. And you can see here, there's that plate. And I can just pop that right onto this little mini tripod. And you can already see that if I just loosen this, that this component here rotates. But what we need to do is we need to get a camera attached to this. So the way to do that is with these holes right here. And what you're going to do is just line this up. And this is adjustable in terms of height. I'm actually going to put this in a lower position, and I'll show you why in a second. The lowest position I can. And if you wanted to, you could actually have it in a higher position. And they do have different holes here so that you can decide where you want those bolts to be. So it does give you some adjustability, which is actually very handy. So I'm going to go ahead and take the other two bolts. I'm going to attach this, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, it's all done. We've got all of those pieces together, and I have this in the lowest position over here. And again, the reason I'm doing that is I like to use a little quick release system. So instead of putting the camera directly onto this plate, which I absolutely could do, I'm going to go ahead and put this little quick release base on here, which is from Neewer. And I've been using it for these smaller cameras like the XH2S, the A7C2, the FX30, which is up there, because it just allows me to quickly and easily take these things off and move them to other places inside of the studio. So that's the quick release right there, you can see, and it's just sitting there. So it's not part of the system, it's a separate part, but I'll put a link to it anyway. And then we're going to go ahead and put this right here, and you can sort of see what the whole unit looks like. And then we just need to get a camera on here. So I've got this XH2S here with that little plate, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that into place. Now, this is the 16 to 55, so this would be pretty equivalent to a 24 to 105 or something like that. And this is basically the entire setup. This is what you're doing. Now, one thing that's kind of nifty is at the top of this rotating component, there is a cold shoe mount. There's a 3/8 16, and there's also a 1/4 20 tap here, so you can figure out what you want to do with that. And then really it's as simple as this. You're shooting with the camera and you have it on, and then you're just going to go ahead and loosen this, and then you can just rotate it, and now you're in that portrait configuration. You loosen it again and you are back to landscape, and that's really the whole deal here. Again, very easy. Just go ahead and loosen this, and you would just rotate it and then tighten it down again. Pretty good access to your focus rings and things like that. Again, like I said, this is not going to be for every single camera system out there, but there is documentation about what sizes and diameters work well with the system. I think it's pretty cool. Benro rotating bracket. Definitely a usable piece of kit. Obviously, links will be in the description. Don't forget to. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.